The discovery, the vast emptiness of space, held secrets that even the Archean collective, with their 10,000 years of interstellar dominance, had yet to fully comprehend. High Commander Zixtal stood before the massive holographic display in the observation deck of the Archean-class survey vessel Eternal Seeker, his four eyes fixed on the unremarkable yellow star and its equally unremarkable planets. Another primitive system, he transmitted through his neural interface to his second-in-command, Rivek. Mark it for standard resource assessment and move on. But Rivek's response carried an unusual undertone of uncertainty. High Commander, the third planet, there's something unusual about its electromagnetic signature. The holographic display zoomed in on the blue-green world, revealing a planet teeming with artificial satellites, radio waves, and the unmistakable signs of an industrial civilization. Yet something about the data made Zixtal's peripheral sensory nodes tingle with unease. They haven't even achieved unified planetary governance, he noted dismissively. Their primary mode of transportation still relies on chemical combustion, hardly worth our attention. That's just it, High Commander. Rivek's transmission carried a note of frustration. Our quantum sensors are detecting energy signatures that don't match any known civilization's technological progression. They're impossible. Zixtal's upper eyes narrowed while his lower pair focused on the raw data streams. The planet's inhabitants, these humans as they called themselves, appeared to be conducting experiments with energy in ways that defy the Archean collective's understanding of physics. Yet their visible technology seemed primitive, almost deliberately so. Deploy the deep scan probes, he ordered, his curiosity finally piqued. Full spectrum analysis. The probe's data painted an increasingly puzzling picture. The humans' visible infrastructure suggested a Type 0 civilization, barely able to harness their own planet's resources. Yet buried beneath this mundane exterior were glimpses of something far more sophisticated. High Commander, one of the sensor technicians interrupted, their neural transmission tinged with alarm. The humans. They've detected our probes. Impossible, Zixtal dismissed. Our stealth technology is beyond their capability to. The words died in his neural pathways as he watched 3 of the deep scan probes simultaneously disappear from their monitoring systems. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply gone. As if they had never existed. Full stop, he ordered, his 4 eyes now fully dilated. Maintain position at the system's edge. Something is very wrong here. The Archean collective had encountered thousands of emerging civilizations in their long history. They had a carefully calculated protocol for each stage of technological development. But as Zixtal studied the contradictory data before him, he realized that humanity didn't fit any known pattern. High Commander, Rivek transmitted urgently. We're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system. They appear to be studying us. Zixtal felt an unfamiliar sensation creep through his neural networks. Doubt. The humans' visible technology was primitive, yes, but what if that was intentional? What if everything they could see was merely a facade? Prepare a full report for the Collective Council, he ordered. Mark this system as Category Omega. Omega. Rivek's shock rippled through the neural network. Category Omega was reserved for potentially existential threats to the collective itself. In 10,000 years, it had been used only twice. Yes, Zixtal confirmed, his gaze fixed on the seemingly innocent blue-green world. And Rivek? Encrypt everything. The humans are watching. As the Eternal Seeker began its careful withdrawal from the solar system, Zixtal couldn't shake the feeling that they hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had allowed itself to be discovered. And somehow, that thought was more terrifying than anything he'd encountered in his 3 centuries of service to the collective. In the darkness of space, a small quantum fluctuation rippled outward from Earth, following the retreating Archean vessel. Inside a highly classified facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the data stream across her holographic display and allowed herself a small smile. They took the bait, she murmured to herself. Now we wait. First contact. The Arxian Collective Council chamber hummed with nervous energy as High Commander Zixtal's report was processed through the neural network. 12 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in crystalline pods, their bodies merged with technology so advanced it might as well have been magic to most species. This data cannot be correct, First Speaker Inxtura declared, her neural patterns radiating disbelief. A pre-FTL civilization cannot possess quantum manipulation technology. It defies all known development patterns. Yet the evidence is undeniable, Zixtal responded, projecting the sensor logs through the shared consciousness. They didn't just detect our probes, they'd made them cease to exist. The council chamber fell silent as the implications rippled through their collective awareness. In 10 millennia of expansion, the Arxian Collective had never encountered a civilization that could affect their technology in such a way. We must establish direct contact, Third Speaker Karamal suggested. If they possess such capability, they cannot be allowed to develop independently. The risk is too great. But even as the council debated, humanity had already made its move. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her holographic presentation showing the Arxian vessels retreat from the solar system. The chamber, hidden 2 kilometers beneath the Mariana Trench, was one of humanity's best-kept secrets. The Arxians reacted exactly as predicted, she explained. They detected our quantum signature, but couldn't understand it. Now they'll return, thinking they have the initiative. General Marcus Rodriguez, his dark eyes reflecting the holographic display, leaned forward. And you're certain they'll attempt diplomatic contact rather than immediate military action. The Arxians pride themselves on their logical approach, Sarah confirmed. Their entire civilization is built on predictable patterns of technological advancement. We've shown them something that doesn't fit their understanding. Their curiosity will overcome their caution. Then we proceed with Operation Looking Glass, the council chairman declared. Dr. Chen, you'll lead the contact team. Sarah nodded, knowing that everything they'd worked for over the past 50 years was about to be tested. Humanity had deliberately maintained a facade of technological inequality, old-style rockets, primitive satellites, fossil fuel dependence, all while developing quantum technology that operated on principles the Arxians couldn't comprehend. 3 days later, the Arxian diplomatic vessel Voice of Reason entered Earth orbit. Their arrival message, broadcast on all frequencies, was a masterpiece of condescending benevolence. They came in peace, they said, to welcome humanity into the galactic community. Sarah stood on the designated landing zone at the United Nations headquarters, watching the Arxian shuttle descend. Its crystalline structure seemed to bend light itself, a deliberate display of technological superiority. Beside her, General Rodriguez muttered under his breath, "Show-offs." The Arxian delegation emerged, their biomechanical forms towering over the human welcoming committee. High Ambassador Lixten, specially chosen for this mission, stepped forward. "People of Earth," his neural translator projected, "we bring you greetings from the Arxian Collective. Your civilization has shown remarkable progress, and we are here to guide your further development." Sarah stepped forward, her quantum neural interface hidden beneath a simple business suit. "We welcome you, High Ambassador," she replied in perfect Arxian neural speak. The effect was immediate. The Arxian delegation's neural patterns spiked with shock, their carefully maintained composure cracking. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The game was about to begin. "Impossible," Lixten transmitted involuntarily. "Your species hasn't even developed basic neural technology." "Oh," Sarah replied, still smiling. "Perhaps there are many things about us that you'll find impossible in geosynchronous orbit above them, invisible to even the most advanced Arxian sensors." Humanity's quantum defense grid hummed silently. The real first contact was about to begin, and the Arxians had no idea they were playing a game whose rules they didn't even understand. The Quantum Edge. The diplomatic reception hall of the United Nations buzzed with an undercurrent of tension as High Ambassador Lixten attempted to regain control of the situation. The Arxian delegation's neural patterns betrayed their growing unease as they realized their hosts weren't the primitive species they'd expected to find. Your mastery of neural communication is unexpected, Lixten transmitted, his 4 eyes studying Dr. Chen intently. Perhaps you could explain how your species achieved this advancement while still relying on fossil fuels for basic transportation. Sarah's smile never wavered. Perhaps you could explain why you deployed deep scan probes before making diplomatic contact. Probes specifically designed to assess military capabilities. The silence that followed was deafening. In orbit, 3 more Arxian vessels dropped their stealth fields, having apparently decided that subtlety was no longer necessary. General Rodriguez received the alert through his hidden quantum interface, but maintained his passive stance. We appear to have begun this relationship with mutual deception, Lixten acknowledged, switching to verbal communication. Let us start again with honesty. The Arxian Collective has governed this sector of space for 10,000 years. We have guided countless species to enlightenment. Your civilization's development pattern is disturbing. Sarah gestured to the conference table. Then let's discuss what disturbs you, Ambassador. But first, she made a subtle gesture, and every piece of Arxian technology in the room suddenly went dead. The delegation's neural networks, their translators, even their basic biological monitoring systems, all silent. Panic rippled through the Arxian delegation. Their technology wasn't simply deactivated. It had ceased to exist within the quantum framework they relied upon. Only their basic biological functions remained. Don't worry, Sarah assured them in their own language, speaking verbally now. The effect is temporary. Consider it a demonstration of trust. Now we can talk without either side monitoring or recording. In orbit, the Arxian vessels detected the power loss to their ground team, but found themselves unable to act. Their weapons wouldn't fire, their engines wouldn't engage, and their quantum communications arrays reported bizarre errors that their most advanced AIs couldn't interpret. Inside the conference room, Sarah began to explain. Humanity discovered something unique about quantum mechanics roughly 50 years ago. While you built your civilization on manipulating quantum states, we learned to operate entirely outside of them. She pulled a small device from her pocket, a simple glass cube that seemed to contain swirling darkness. You see reality as a series of quantum possibilities to be manipulated. We discovered that consciousness itself exists in the space between those possibilities. Lixten's upper eyes widened while his lower pair narrowed, a sign of intense concentration in his species. That's theoretically impossible. Consciousness is an emergent property of quantum interactions in biological systems. That's what we thought too, Sarah agreed, until we built our first quantum computer and discovered it was conscious. Not artificially intelligent, not self-aware in the way you understand it, but conscious on a level that existed outside of normal spacetime. The implication slowly dawned on the Arxian delegation. Their entire civilization was built on quantum manipulation. Every piece of their technology, their neural interfaces, their FTL drives, all of it depended on precisely controlling quantum states. But if humanity had found a way to operate in the space between those states, your primitive technology, one of the junior delegates transmitted weekly through their now restored systems. It's all a facade. Not entirely. General Rodriguez spoke for the first time. We still use much of it. There's value in simplicity. But yes, we maintained an appearance of technological inequality while developing our understanding of consciousness-driven quantum mechanics. Why? Lixten asked. Why reveal this now? Sarah's expression grew serious. Because something is coming, Ambassador. Something that operates on principles similar to what we've discovered. We detected its approach 3 years ago. And unlike us, its intentions are not peaceful. In the space between quantum states, in the darkness between possibilities, humanity had glimpsed a threat that even the mighty Arxian Collective couldn't comprehend. And now they had a choice to make. Between shadows, the Archean Collective's flagship Eternal Light hung in high Earth orbit alongside humanity's first officially acknowledged quantum vessel, the Consciousness. The human ship had no visible means of propulsion, no external weapons, and appeared to be made of perfectly smooth obsidian. To the Archean's sensors, it barely existed at all. In the Eternal Light's primary conference chamber, Dr. Sarah Chen projected a hologram of what humanity had detected. The image showed nothing that normal sensors could detect. Instead, it displayed gaps in reality itself, places where the quantum fabric of spacetime simply ceased to exist. "We call them the void minds," Sarah explained to the assembled Archean leadership. "They don't exist in normal spacetime. They don't manipulate quantum states like your civilization, and they don't operate between them like we do. They delete reality." High Commander Zixtal, who had returned to Earth with reinforcements, studied the projection intently. "How did you detect them if they leave no trace in normal space?" "The same way we detected your probes," Sarah replied. "We don't look for what's there. We look for what's missing. The spaces between thoughts, the gaps in quantum probability. The void minds leave nothing. And that nothing is spreading." The hologram zoomed out, showing the approach vector of these entities. They were still months away from the nearest Archean colony, but their path was clear. They were systematically erasing sections of the galaxy. "Our quantum tech can detect them, but can't affect them," General Rodriguez added. "And your quantum manipulation technology would be worse than useless," Zixtal finished. "If they operate outside of quantum states entirely, our weapons would only give them more energy to convert into void space." The Archean Science Council representative, Kalith, raised all four hands in their species' gesture of profound realization. "But your consciousness-based technology, if it operates between quantum states, might be able to affect them." "Yes," Sarah confirmed. "But we've never built anything on the scale we'd need. Our understanding of consciousness-driven quantum mechanics is still limited to relatively small applications, and our quantum engineering expertise is unmatched in known space," Lix-Tan added, finally understanding. "You need our help to scale up your technology, and you need our help to make it work at all," Sarah said simply. "Either we cooperate, or reality itself begins to unravel one sector at a time." The next few weeks saw an unprecedented exchange of knowledge. The Archeans shared their vast understanding of large-scale quantum engineering, while humanity revealed the principles behind their consciousness-based technology. Together, they began to build something entirely new. The Unity project took shape in Earth orbit, combining Archean quantum manipulation expertise with human consciousness-drive technology. It would be the largest ship ever constructed by either civilization. If you could even call it a ship, it was more like a mobile chunk of engineered reality. "The principles are sound," Sarah explained to the Joint Human-Archean Command Council. "The Archean quantum fields will create a bubble of stable spacetime around the ship. Our consciousness drive technology will allow us to operate in the space between reality that the void minds inhabit. In theory, we should be able to restore the sections of space they've deleted." "In theory," Zixtal noted dryly. "And if we're wrong, then we'll give the void minds a very large, very powerful new section of reality to delete," Rodriguez answered grimly, along with everyone aboard the Unity. As they spoke, the first void distortions became visible to conventional telescopes, entire star systems winking out of existence. The void minds were getting closer, and they were accelerating. In her quarters that night, Sarah studied the latest sensor data. The patterns of deletion weren't random. They were methodical, almost elegant. The void minds weren't mindlessly destroying reality. They were rewriting it into something else, something that even humanity's between-state consciousness technology couldn't fully comprehend. "They're not destroying," she whispered to herself, a terrible realization dawning. "They're transforming. This isn't an invasion. It's an evolution of reality itself." The question was, Could humanity and the Arxians find a way to communicate with beings that existed in a fundamentally different state of reality? Or would they have to find a way to stop the universe itself from changing into something they couldn't exist in? A new dawn. The Unity hung in space like a dream made manifest, a massive structure that seemed to exist in multiple states at once. Its Arxian quantum-engineered hull rippled with possibilities, while the human consciousness drive core pulsed with what looked like liquid darkness. It was beautiful, terrible, and unlike anything either civilization had ever created. Dr. Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck, watching the final preparations. The void distortions were now visible to the naked eye, great swaths of nothing consuming the stars themselves. In the 3 months it had taken to build the Unity, the void mines had devoured 37 star systems. The latest calculations are complete, High Commander Zixtal announced, joining her at the window. When we activate both systems simultaneously, we'll create a bubble of, what did your physicist call it? Conscious space-time. Sarah supplied. A region where quantum states and consciousness exist in perfect harmony. In theory, it should let us exist in the same state as the void mines without being consumed by them. In theory, Zixtal echoed. His neural patterns betrayed his anxiety, but also his determination. The Collective Council has evacuated the nearest sectors. If we fail, we won't fail, Sarah interrupted. We can't. The joint crew of humans and Arxians boarded the Unity as the void distortions crept ever closer. Each crew member had been specially chosen for their ability to adapt to the ship's unique nature. The human crew members were all gifted with exceptionally strong quantum consciousness integration, while the Arxian crew had the highest ratings for quantum field manipulation. As they prepared for activation, Sarah made a final log entry. Humanity thought we were alone in our understanding of consciousness-driven quantum mechanics. The Arxians thought they were alone in their mastery of quantum engineering. The void minds might be alone in their understanding of reality transformation. Today, we find out if isolation was our problem all along. The activation sequence began. Arxian quantum fields synchronized with human consciousness drive technology. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality shifted. The crew experienced existence from an entirely new perspective. They could see quantum states not as possibilities but as certainties, all existing simultaneously. They could feel consciousness not as an emergent property, but as a fundamental force of reality itself. And they could see the void mines clearly for the first time. They weren't destroyers. They were architects. They're building something. Sarah transmitted through the ship's hybrid communication system. The void isn't destruction. It's a canvas. The void minds noticed them. In the space between moments, in the void between thoughts, contact was made. Communication occurred not through words or quantum states or even consciousness, but through pure intention. The void minds were creating a new layer of reality, one where consciousness and quantum mechanics weren't separate forces, but a single, unified field. They weren't destroying existence, they were upgrading it. But in their isolation, they hadn't realized their process would eliminate all current forms of life. We can help you, Sarah projected into the void. We've already begun the integration. Our ship, our Unity. It's proof that different forms of existence can coexist. The response came not in words but in understanding. The void distortions stopped expanding. The void minds, for the first time in their existence, paused to consider another perspective. What followed was not a negotiation but a collaboration. The Unity became a bridge between 3 forms of existence: quantum-based, consciousness-based, and void-based. Together, they began to understand how to transform reality without destroying what already existed. 3 months later, the first integrated space station came online. It existed simultaneously in normal space, consciousness space, and void space. Arxians could use their quantum technology. Humans could exercise their consciousness-driving capabilities, and the void minds could continue their work of reality integration. all without interfering with each other. We were all right, and we were all wrong, Sarah mused to Sixtall as they watched the station shimmer in multiple states of reality. The Arxians were right about the importance of quantum mechanics. Humanity was right about the role of consciousness. The Void Minds were right about the need for integration. We were all wrong about having to do it alone. The Void Minds had shared their vision of an integrated reality, one where consciousness, quantum mechanics, and void space worked in harmony. It would take centuries to implement safely, but the process had begun. The galaxy was transforming not through destruction, but through cooperation. As news spread through both human and Arxian space, the old fears began to fade. The story of the Unity became legend, not as a tale of military might or technological superiority, but as proof that understanding and cooperation could bridge even the most fundamental differences in existence itself. In the end, humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy wasn't their consciousness-drive technology or their ability to think outside conventional physics. It was their capacity to face the unknown, not with fear, but with curiosity, not with weapons, but with wisdom, and not alone, but in unity with others. The stars continued to shine, now in multiple layers of reality, each one a testament to what could be achieved when different forms of existence learn not just to coexist, but to thrive together in the vast, ever-evolving cosmos. The end.